It's more of a taboo subject than people actually think it is.
We don't talk about it, but I'd say it's definitely there in our minds.
It can be difficult, and sometimes it's really hard to just say, look, I need help here. Like, am I all right to be like this?
It's a strange topic, it's a very difficult topic to talk about. I feel like a lot of people shy away from it when they shouldn't.
It is a taboo subject because you only tend to talk about it if somebody is actually having problems, and by then it's kind of almost, it should have come up before that.
It's kind of a sensitive topic. It's like sex around teenagers. It's a difficult thing to talk about with someone.
It is a difficult thing to talk about because a lot of children especially get bullied for their physical appearances.
I mean, like, if people seem like have a bad sort of body image, it's something they tend to keep to themselves mostly.
I still find that I would probably only share my kind of deeper aspects of my personality with my closest friends. And so in order to just talk about yourself and talk about how you view yourself so freely to like a big class would be such a challenge. And so in that sense, I think the reason that it's not an issue is because people are hard. Well, it is an issue, but it's not pushed out, was because it's just very hard to do in front of a group of people.
I wouldn't say it comes up in conversation very often, but whenever it has, it's either been myself or my friend saying like how we view ourselves as bad, not really referencing the media or anything, more just talking about how we don't feel good about ourselves.
Every teenager has something in their head that tells them, oh, I'm not good looking enough to be hanging around with these people, so I should stop hanging around with them. I mean, I think society's just put something into our heads that shouldn't be there. It should be erased. We should just go back to whenever that started and just erase that.
There has been mentioned up in conversation before of my friends. I mean, I commonly go to the gym because of I'm uncomfortable with my body weight as well.
We have teenagers now who self-harm just because they think they don't look good. We also have young girls, for example, 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 11-year-olds on Instagram posting pictures with barely any clothes on, and you're like, no, don't do that.
There's this perfect image that I think people try and strive to, and it's a lot of pressure on younger people.
In the past, I think it's affected me quite a lot. I know I had a lot of self-confidence issues, like to the point where some days I would not go out with my friends because I felt like I didn't look good enough to see them. And just, I don't know, overall it's made me quite, to put it into words, it's made me quite a strange person because I think about it more than an average person would because of the days where I thought I wasn't good enough.
It's generally accepted that these images in the media exist. Airbrushing happens and all of this, so people just sort of accept it, and so they think, okay, why don't I look like that?
Obviously, media all around, especially young people reading magazines and watching TV and stuff, you're constantly seeing celebrities and, oh, what were they wearing, what did they look like? It's constantly just talking about what people look like, and it's constant criticism and oh, this person's lost weight, and it's you should only ever be congratulated for losing weight.
There's a large basis of media that is telling us that the right body image isn't that six-pack, and there's a lot of, inspiring adverts that's telling us differently. It's more the fact that the perfect body image is underlying, nobody actually blatantly says it, it's always there.
The media makes this issue a lot bigger than it used to be before. It's a big issue because there are conditionings that appear from the media that we see every day on our phones, on the TV, and especially on the internet. To talk about it, and not just talk about it in one lesson. They have to talk about it. We need teachers to be a living role model for children that they can follow. We need teachers to show children that body image shouldn't be such a big thing.
Healthy lifestyle is far more than just eating 5 pieces of fruit and veg a day. I mean, it's having a healthy mental state as well.
So I just think promoting being healthy over you need to look like that is what is needed.
I mean, it would be nice if all the media could stop pressuring people, but they're not going to do that because then how are they going to make money?
I think teachers need to be retrained in how to deal with these kind of problems because obviously they're a lot older than the children they're teaching. So it's not that they don't want to understand, it's just that they're not educated enough.
Obviously everyone will be like, school should teach how to make it better, but I think that make sort of more of an open discussion, sort of combat that idea that it is taboo, like open the idea more that talking about it is acceptable and is needed, rather than just be like, this is what happens in the media, it isn't real, believe it kind of thing. Whereas they should open discussions as to how people feel and try to sort of combat that with people that are trained to do so kind of thing.
Like, you do need to talk about it. It is an issue that needs to be spoken about because if you bottle it up, it's just going to get worse.
I think it should be covered in the curriculum, like what defines female in our society, what defines like the ideal male, and how that affects us. If we learn that, we'll be able to criticise it, and then you can change it.
I think there's definitely positive aspects. I mean, like, obviously I don't have experience as a boy, but as a girl, I think that you should definitely strive to be like individual and express yourself and not follow the crowd.
If it's done right, like taught well, people will be far more open and sort of more accepting of others, I think. But because it's taboo and because people don't tend to talk about it as much, that's why it's so much of an issue.
So much more important now the way you look than it was back then. Back then, as from what my parents told me, it wasn't such a big thing, but now there are so many children who are doing ridiculous things for attention.
People are constantly putting up photos and images of themselves, and although that isn't a bad thing because self-confidence of yourself will never ever be a bad thing, it means that we are constantly being reminded of ourselves and this need to look good so you can be one of those people who post pictures and, you know, looks cool on social media.
It's dangerous because you have a lot of young people who are going around and they're seeing these images and it's kind of it's uncontrolled by adults. I think there should be more things out there that say it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to be skinny if you're a guy. It's okay to be larger if you're a girl.
There's a 5-year difference between me and my brother, but I didn't have a phone until I was 14, and now he has an iPad, an iPhone, so he has access to all sorts, and I think that really does change his image. I mean, obviously, my generation as well is still body conscious, but I don't think it was as bad as when I was little compared to my brother, and it's only been 5 years, so I think social media has definitely affected that.
No.
Well, I'm aware there's probably a counsellor for it or something. I don't know their name. They never came into my school. Maybe do that if you kind of want to solve these problems.
Nothing springs to mind. Like, there's nothing that says I'm having problems with body issues. I'll go to them or I'll go there because nothing springs to mind.
I mean, you wouldn't necessarily go to mental health services because you're having like a bad body image day, but except from that, I wouldn't know of any services. I mean, there are resources online that you can look at, but some of them are quite, I don't know, patronising.
I've never known an actual group which deals with body weight. It only really becomes a big issue when it's so dangerous that the NHS and police and medical service have to get involved.
If they could find some kind of way to make help available for people that feel like the way I do, then I imagine it'd be great. Like, even if it was like a support group or something like that, to talk about it.